What's up? Good morning, everybody. There's my voice. I found it. How you guys doing? We're early today. Look at this. Okay. All right. 3 minutes late. 5:48. 8:48 Eastern. You got to go Eastern, folks. You got to go Eastern or people don't understand. Guys, how is it going? Let's look at the chat real quick. We only have a few minutes. I appreciate all of you that are here. Let's see. We got Agash is in the morning. Good morning, Agash. Coop's still working on his hair. How does it look? It's okay. Look at that, man. Still got it. Still got it, folks. and still got the hair. I've been paranoid about losing my hair since I was like 17 years old. So far, so good. I mean, you know. YouTube's blacklisted the Welsh flag. You know, you can't do a Twitter thread and have a YouTube video as one of the thread. It will reject it and it will just post the initial video or the initial post, and then you have to comment with your YouTube video. They really hate YouTube over at Twitter, but they haven't built something better. All right, guys, look, honestly, I did not listen to the assembly. If you have any details on what went down with XGov, I would love you to put that in the comments. I'll comment on it. I'll read your takes on that. But I have to say, I opened CoinDesk this morning, and this is the first time I've ever seen 2 Algorand articles, like in the top 6 articles on CoinDesk. We're going to have to look at those. I'm seeing if I got a response in my DMs. I, in fact, did not. Okay. Because I was looking for some details on what happened with XGov. Only detail I got is that signups start on Saturday. So I don't know. That's pretty exciting to me. That's something that I've been obviously calling for, something that we've all been impatient for. So I am looking forward to that. How you guys doing? Everybody good? Good morning, Wilder. Thanks for coming back. Gov, welcome back, buddy. Brazil, what do you know? Hola, or what do you say in Brazil? Shit, it's Portuguese, isn't it? Damn it. Bad, but hello, man. How you doing? Good to see you. And chicken tenders. Looks good, buddy. Thanks, man. There we go. Ludo's in the house. Coop has arrived. Let's go. All right, I'm excited. So as you guys know, a lot of you know that today, barring, you know, hopefully it all works, but doing great. Hopefully it all works, but we're going to listen to a rules Twitter space, Voices of Algorand. And I'm going to play that here. We're going to all be able to listen to it together. I'll give some commentary, but mainly I'll sit back and we'll all listen. I will give some commentary if it's necessary. And then at the end, I'll give a quick recap and we'll go on with our day. But before we do that, we still have about 10 minutes before we have to figure that out. Let's go look at some stuff here. All right, you guys ready to look at some stuff? So first, why don't we just go to CoinMarketCap? I know crypto is feeling fancy right now. All right. Want this. All right. We'll refresh this bad boy. Yep. It's all pumping, man. 5%. It's up 5% over the last 24 hours. 28. It's back up over 28. They said CFTC who? CFTC who? I think a lot of this is on low volume, folks. So buys can pump it and then sells can dump it. You know what I mean? Because there's not a lot of volume. This is significantly less than what we saw even yesterday. If I remember correctly, and I could be totally wrong, but I feel like when we looked at this yesterday, the 24-hour volume was 40, or maybe it was 30 and 15. Anyways, volume's down. XRP is having quite the week, folks, up 25%. All this stuff is about the same, not quite as dramatic as Bitcoin or XRP. Hedera's just sitting there. We got to get back over. Algo needs to get back up over these guys. But look at it. Look at that baby go. Oh, man. Outperforming like the beaut that she is. Algorand at number 37, ahead of a layer 2 governance coin token. But Algorand 37 at 22.5 cents, up over 13% in the last 24 hours. Not bad, folks. There's a lot of good news that's been happening, and that's probably why. We got Vestige up right here. Got it 22.5 on Vestige. Opal down 14% in the last 24 hours. Not sure what that's about. Headline is sitting there. Look at that guy. There you go. What's your favorite ASA, guys? I know Ludo's is Votecoin. Go Mint up 10% over the last 24 hours. Cometa up 8.5%. All right. So those are those. But now let's go look at CoinDesk. Now, I did look at this about an hour and a half ago, so let's hope that I didn't queue up these articles because they were at the top. But Bitcoin heads for best quarter in 2 years, outperforms Ether and gold. Let me just make sure that you guys are seeing me. You guys are seeing me. This is going well. And then, like I said, one observer said poor order book depth is primarily responsible for the rally, while others pointed to the cryptocurrency's sound money appeal and Fed pivot speculation as bigger catalysts. I don't know. Are the banks doing that bad? We found out that Credit Suisse helps wealthy Americans dodge taxes. Is that bullish? All right. So let's go over here to the articles. There are a bunch of articles that have dropped in the last hour. So that pushes us down. But okay, an hour ago, Algorand aims to help developers transition to Web3 with Algokit. Congratulations to Algorand Foundation for the successful, I'm assuming, launch of Algokit. It's very exciting. We all know that John Woods is very excited about Algokit. And I think, guys, it's a good morning. It's a good morning for the Algorand Foundation and Algorand. We're about to listen to a rule from Borderless Capital, give his, lead his space about concerns. But the Algorand Foundation came out hot right before that, looking good. So anyways, the tool suite is designed to be an easy on-ramp for Web2 developers shifting to Web3 and developers from other chains who want to test out Algorand. The Algorand Foundation, the company behind Layer 1 blockchain, launched a tool suite, Algokit. Yes, they did. If John Wood says, it brings some of the most desirable Web2 UX features into the Algorand ecosystem, making it extremely easy to onboard and start building on blockchain quickly. There he goes. Johnny Woods. Seamus. Algokit grants users the ability to run, explore, and interact with an isolated local Algorand network called LocalNet before deploying to mainnet. This is an important feature when building and launching dApps. Great. It's easy to install and set up and features a clean language with user-friendly design patterns and integrated testing suite, best practices for security, and best practices for deployment pipelines. Initially, Algokit will focus on smart contract development experience and will potentially lead to full stack development. The tool will also offer templates for users to learn how to start building on Algorand. Algorand's total value locked is about 139 million, ranking 18th amongst all chains. Not so long ago, we were 14th. But folks, governance signups are coming up soon. A lot of TVL tends to pour in. I don't know if that's going to be different this time because of some of the drama or whatever. But frankly, there's some good news coming. You know what I mean? So not feeling bad about that article on CoinDesk. And then I think I'm going to have to go. This is from, let's go view all. And then there was another one from late last night. Binance's on-chain balance stands at 64 billion. I'm actually curious. Sorry. Tether, Bitcoin, Ether, and Binance BUSD and BNB coin make up around 81% of Binance's total balance. Binance's on-chain balance remains high. Currently stands at 64 billion. The reserves display the asset backing and strength. Binance has, as of Wednesday, seen over 600 million in customer token outflows, although the figure is still relatively lower than when BUSD issued Paxos was slapped by a U.S. Securities Exchange Commission lawsuit. Binance processed over 2 billion in withdrawals in a single day at the time. I think that we're seeing already have seen much of, sorry guys, what's going on? Sorry. I think we've already seen much of the outflows. All right, moving on. Let's find this Safe Moon. Oh man, exploited for 9 million. Let's move on, folks. My algo, Safe Moon has been exploited. Here it is. Look at Silvio. Look at that man. There he is. Hi, Silvio. Algo Bharat claims it will support India's transformation from Web 2 to Web 3. Algorand Foundation branches out to India, that small little country with a small footprint in the tech world. Blockchain, especially in the dev tech world. Blockchain protocol, Algorand, has entered the world's most populous country. Millions of Indians take on outsourced work from Silicon Valley companies and global banks. Silicon Valley companies and global banks. Like Christopher Walken breaking up sentences in weird ways. Launched on Wednesday, Algo Bharat won't have a registered entity in India, but we'll see a dedicated team focus on real-world utility for blockchain in India with relevance for the rest of the world. The word Bharat represents the nation of India. India was effectively the back office of Web 2, right? The innovation might have been led somewhere else, said Anil, vice president in the India country head at the Algo Foundation. A vice president in the India country. Oh, so he's a vice president of the foundation. I didn't know that, or I wasn't aware of that. Blockchain use cases that have the greatest real world utility are happening here in India. For the past several weeks, Kakani and Nikhil Varma, the tech lead for Algo Bharat, have been traversing the nation's engineering universities and blockchains, friendly states in India, but have stayed clear of the rule makers. We will certainly engage with regulators this year. We have, said Kakani, who was a senior advisor for India at the U.S. Treasury. We have been understanding the appetite. I mean, did you hear that? You hear who's leading this in India? And by the way, Anil. Oh yeah, Anil Kakani. Got it. That is Kakani is Anil. Sorry, Jesus. It's early, folks. It's early. But anyways, yeah, he was a senior advisor for India at the U.S. Treasury. All right. Anil plays ball. We have been understanding the appetite for Web3 here. When we do talk to regulators, we will come with the track record of working with the National Bank of Italy and the Marshall Islands CBDC project. Whatever happened to that? Whatever happened to old Marshall? I think the U.S. kind of said no. India's position on crypto has gone from the central bank trying to ban the industry's access to financial services to a stiff tax regime in 20. Oh, okay. All right, guys. We got to go, don't we? I can't leave you guys. We got to turn this thing on, don't we? Let's see how this goes. Two likes. Let's go to, I think it's, oh my God, because I've been saying Anil in a rule. All right. So hopefully this works.
A lot of fear, a lot of noise, and
hey, can you guys
definitely there are
you can hear this
concerns as well. And we are in a bear market, and so it's important that we hear the concerns and bring the confidence that we can steer in the right direction. So I'm here to make sure that first I listen and then take some action through the right proper channel, right? And so feel free to come up and speak. But what I would say that don't try to whine on one topic for a long time. Be very crisp. So come back and say that
Try
this
not to
is
whine.
the problem that you're thinking, or this is the recommendation or action that you think we should do. I would even give more weightage if somebody says that, hey, I think this is the reason for the problem, because that's more important. I think we all know the problem. If you come in, if you could say also what you believe is the reason for the problem, and also if you want to go to the next step and say that I think possible steps you recommend that we can take that could help us to solve those problems. But again, a lot of these problems you're talking about is complicated. It's not just one easy step. Otherwise, everybody could have solved it, right? So it's not an easy one. Okay, so with that, I think we have enough people there. And Jeff, you're about to say?
Yeah, so I would say anybody who wants to help, come up and speak about how we can improve the Algorand ecosystem generally, please feel free to request, and we want to hear from everybody. So we'll go one by one. If anybody wants to request, feel free now, and we can start the conversation.
Yeah, and Jeff, thank you for helping me out. So I thought, first of all, Jeff has a little more experience than me in Twitter space, so he's going to help me technicality wise, so that he can help to coordinate. And the goal is to listen from everyone. So please raise your hands, and we would bring one by one, so that people can talk about it. And also, if you have question for me, I'll be happy to answer. So, but if it's very technical question, I would not be able to answer. So I think, but being in the ecosystem from day one, understand all the dynamics. So I will try to give my open, transparent answer to anything. So I'm not here to do anything. So whatever is the right thing I feel, I'm going to be very open and be transparent and let the community know. Okay, so with that, I think, Jeff, feel free to bring in people. At any time, let's have two. And also, I see that there is ReCoop is doing an Algorand community listening party. That's good. So I think people over there could have a little bit more fun chit-chatting. And then again, just figure out a way. Like, for example, if there are people in ReCoop that want to ask some questions, how to answer those questions as well.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Okay, so with that, so we have Algorand. So please go ahead.
Chris wants to know if there's a reason why it's called voice for Algorand.
Oh, he's connecting now.
All right, so we got Chris in the building. What's up, Chris? We got the hat. The hat's back.
Okay, you are on mute.
You're on mute. Look, see,
and also listening to the thing. You in the next person at any time. Let's have two other people. So
hello, everyone. Good day, everyone.
Nice shout out, by the way, from Arul.
Hey, good to see you. Yeah, please raise your voice. Yeah, let's hear your thoughts. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So basically, my question was, what is the current plan to maintain Algorand market structure as it concerns its investors and its orders?
I did not fully get it, actually. Can you repeat it, please? What's
up? Good morning, CJ.
My question was, what is the current market plan to secure the Algorand current structure?
Jeff?
Yeah, I think I have your comment. I think I have your question here. It says, what is the current plan to maintain the Algorand market structure in the current world of Web3? Despite development, the condition of the product market is important. I'm concerned. Okay, I think if you're regarding the ecosystem, that's definitely what we're here to discuss. Yeah, I think we're looking more for constructive.
Yeah, so here I think it's not important to get my view. I think it's more important to get your views. So there could be another one I could have where I'll be more happy, I think, to give a lot of my views. If you have any specific question, I'll be happy to answer as well, because I don't want to take this time. I could talk about a long time, right? For a generic question like how we can improve go-to-market, where it is. So what I would do, like, let's bring, so John Algo is requested, let's bring him. Again, Algo Dog, if you have a specific question, please write it down as well. So we'll be happy to answer.
Hey, Brock, just so you know, why are we pumping so hard? Well, Algokit dropped. There's a couple of articles on CoinDesk. We had BitBoy kind of pump it yesterday.
John, please go ahead.
And
John, good morning.
Governance signed up.
Good morning, guys,
So people
and everyone else. Thanks for hosting Arul. I just want to, get everybody's feedback on kind of like the XGov things that was talked about this morning by Adri. I thought it's a good first step. So there's already the Algorand governance committee set up, which I am lucky enough to be on. I don't really think it's like great as far as an organization to, make proposals. And so like proposals are kind of like the key thing, like how proposals are made. And so right now, anybody in that group can kind of come forward with a proposal, and then that gets put forward to governance. And usually it's just like what Adri decides is a good one. So I don't know. I think if anything out of this group, maybe there's enough people here where you guys could put forward a proposal to Adri, and it would get, advanced into that. So that's just like an opening statement. But Arul, I have some questions just about the algo stake in general. And maybe you could answer this. So like the Algo Foundation puts like a lot of money right into these funds, such as Borderless or HiveMind. And then there's like, we as algo holders don't really know like where those funds are or how they're being deployed. They're for the community, but we don't know how they're being used. So what are your thoughts on that? And then like, how can we as algo holders get some transparency into that? As far as like how it's being spent. I understand you guys, as a VC are, you're a private company, so there's no like disclosure as far as you guys are concerned. But as far as Algo Foundation disclosing this, like what are your thoughts?
Yes, so I think there are two aspects. So you have Algorand Ventures, which is completely run by algos held by the foundation. I completely agree that there should be a lot more transparency, how they're investing, where they're investing, how they have to report out, it's responsible. And when it comes to Borderless Capital or any other VCs, typically venture capitalists or private funds, because Algorand is not the only LP. So Algorand is one of the LP. So we have a lot of other LPs, and we have a private placement memorandum. We have LPA, limited partners agreement. So a lot of these agreements would not allow to disclose things publicly. And that's how it can be run best, because there's a lot more information that are there, which allows us to perform well. And we as a professional VC allows us to negotiate the right term. So it allows us to make decisions. Algorand do not have any influence over our decision. So as a partner in the investment committee, make all the right decision. So that's how it is. So Borderless Capital works as best in class VC firm. But what we also recognize is that we are in the Web3. In the Web3, community is quite important. So while we are a private fund, we want to collaborate very openly with the community, hear the feedback. And that's the reason why we have invested in about 200 companies. So already we are hearing a lot of feedback. So more than 80% of active true development that are happening in Algorand, Borderless has invested in. And constantly we are hearing that feedback, and that allows us to do much better. So if you look at it in a way, we are getting, without much noise, good feedback, and that's what we are meant to be. So we are one set. Similarly, there's another set that's like Algorand Ventures, so that one is a little going to be complicated, because how do you work in a more decentralized, hearing the community feedback, be open, be transparent, do everything. So that's my feedback to that question. And then regarding XGov, I think we are in the very early stage. And again, John, you made your statement in the Algorand builder, voice of Algorand builders. I think there are others. So here's what I would tell, like, who are all the best people to be in the xGov? Because xGov is basically expert governance. It's a great thought process that came from Silvio. We really want the proposal to come from the community, right? At this time, the proposals are coming from the foundation. It's a starting point. But I think very soon we should go and reach to see that, because who knows really the need? From me perspective, the people who are truly building in Algorand, the builders knows a lot more. So if the builders can kind of come organized and then be different xGovs, and then the builders include the broader community that are there. So I think there are really good constructive feedback that's coming up. And if you look at last 2 days, that's a discussion that's happening. I think John is giving his valuable inputs. There are other builders coming and telling. So what I look at is that my goal is to arrange a call with Adrina and the right people in the foundation so that we could discuss and see that how we can have the xGov. So right now what's happening is that there is not a channelized input that we can give it to people that are running the Algorand Foundation. So what's happening, there's a lot of knowledge. As I said, like builders and other active people in the community has a lot more knowledge. If they can coordinate and they can provide the right feedback, then what I look at is that people in the foundation, there are amazing people there, they can facilitate it very well, right? So that's what it is actually. So I think that's my thought, but it's a good topic. I encourage questions from more, because I clearly know John's view. He clearly expressed. So I would like to hear other people's view as well. So with that, I think let's open up to other people, because I want to hear from more people and give opportunity for everyone.
Yeah, I got to say that I want John to come on and talk to me about what he's
and Jeff,
what
please
he's talking
bring
about.
people, at least 1 or 2 people, so that
Anybody else feel free to request. And just on the topic of xGov, I wonder, like, looking at Cardano and what they did with Catalyst, and there's other decentralized apparent like governance solutions. I just wonder, I again, reading just the chats and seeing the general vibe of the community, if we're basically asking the xGovs to have some sort of capacity to allocate resources from governance for community activities, or promoting certain projects, or doing like almost a sort of like incubator between verticals, as has been discussed. There's a lot of interesting proposals. Again, it's very early. On-chain governance is something very new. Yeah, I think it's going to evolve slowly but surely from everybody's input. Anybody else feel free to request if you want to speak.
And by the way,
please.
everybody that's watching this, I just got a bunch of details about xGov that I'll be able to share with you when this is, when this is done.
Again, there are questions like, hey, what about EVM on Algorand chain? There are pros and cons, but this is not the right forum to discuss those aspects, right? So definitely there's a technicalities. And also I would say that we should also have some discussion like that with John, so that people like John should come in and answer a lot of things. So I could see that we have an amazing community. Having the right forum to address would be really good.
Right.
Ludo, go ahead, please.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I am builder on Algorand for some time now. Mm-hmm. For example, I have created the first Algorand open source wallet called a wallet. It was not kind of promoted by the foundation, because I believe they had put a lot of grants to my algo and to Pera wallet, and still they kind of support only these 3 with DeFi as well. But the thing is, I have also created the VoteCoin project, which kind of creates this decentralized voting solution built on Algorand, where you put the question to the blockchain, where you cast a vote through the blockchain, where you can encrypt your voting through the blockchain. where you can delegate your voting power in categorized manner to other account. And there are many features. And basically, the origin of this project was before Algorand Foundation has published their governance. And I suggested on the Algorand forum, let's do it through the node field. Let's put there some data, and let's scale this up basically very large. But the foundation, I don't think they even took a look at it. So, and I'm trying to propose them that this is the way to go. And yet still I don't get any basically feedback from the foundation.
Ludo, can
Yeah.
you link your project in the comments above? Can you link it in the Twitter Spaces?
Is the Vaultcoin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Okay,
currently
good.
it's the
So I think
top 8 project by TVL on Algorand.
Okay, good. So I think let me take this question. I think it's a generic question coming from a lot of people, right? So a lot of people look at to say that, hey, I want to get a grant. Why is Algorand Foundation giving grant to certain aspect, not to the other? It's a complex process. And if you look at this point of time, there is very less grant has been given. I think the idea is to go and basically put more into through equity, right? Through Algorand Ventures. So if you ask me, I think that's a better process. I think I see a lot of comments from the community as well. So a lot of people got the grant. And if you look at how many people who got the grant that delivered as a percentage wise is very less. And it's a very hard job. If you look at, right, even a professional VC, when they go and invest, only certain percentage becomes successful. So by history, 90% of the startups fail and only 10% succeed. This is in general in technology. When you take into crypto Web3, it is much lesser than 10%. So, and I think when the community sees that foundation has given grant to a lot of people, and I've not seen progress, and they are getting very concerned as well. So it's a complex one, and I think I see a lot of people coming and saying that why I'm not getting it. I want to get more money. So again, I'm going to give my individual view here, right? Everything I'm talking about is completely individual. I'm not representing Borderless Capital. I'm not representing Algorand or anyone, right? So I'm a builder.
Can I comment on this?
Please let me complete my thought process. So I'm a builder. I'm an entrepreneur. So I've been an entrepreneur for 20 plus years. And then for the last probably 7 years, working as a venture capitalist. So what I would say here is that I have seen a lot of scenarios in the last 4 years in Algorand community and also in other community. So what I would say is that what you're asking is fair. And I think you need to continue to do that. You are an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are fighters. You never give back. And look at foundation as one source. If you have a business plan thinking my success is based on the grant, then that's not right. So you as an entrepreneur, getting a grant from the foundation is one. How do I leverage other resources that we have from the community? Foundation is nothing but represent the community. It's not like, hey, I want foundation to act as. So we all should come together. So that's why I'm trying to do a group on the builders. I think I'm in the very early stage. So what I'm trying to say is that I'm really appreciate you raising this one. As I said, this is nothing with you. I'm using this opportunity to address in general. So it's not good that people are whining that I'm not getting funding. I would rather want to come back. If you have a compelling opportunity, still there are good money that are there that want to invest in. So even at this time, again, I'm not talking about just Algorand community or anything like that, that if you have a really good compelling things, it would be happening. And also what you would see it also is that in the bear market, it's a lot tougher. So I'm going to be very empathetic. It's extremely hard to get funding, right? So now if you look at foundation, it's based on the algo price. So at this current bear market, it makes it challenging for everyone. So it's not like I'm supporting one or the other. I'm just trying to express the view to see what is the challenge over here. And in general, I would say that don't just whine for funding. Try to differentiate yourself. See how you can basically highlight yourself, get the attention, and prove yourself. And if you come out with something innovative, something great, there's a lot more people. It doesn't matter. Like, people should run after you to say that I want to really back this project. So I know that's my view. Please go ahead. You are about to say.
Okay. So notice that I have not mentioned any request for money in my previous speech.
Oh, no, you're absolutely right.
And
so, sorry, I think please don't take it personal. I'm using your question in general, talking about builders or developers asking for grant or other funding, and what's the community feedback. I completely respect you. So it's nothing to do with you, right? It's a general question I'm answering. Again, I want everyone to come in and represent the community. This is not about representing yourself. It's about representing the community, right? It's a voice of Algorand community.
Okay.
Please go ahead. Yeah, don't take it personal. I have complete respect on you. Please go ahead.
So it's absolutely nothing about the money. And I kind of won more than 10 hackathons in last 2 years. And I'm sure I can deliver what I promised. For example, for the vote coin, we have received the grant after it was in the Algorand Encode Accelerator. And we delivered the encryption voting because of this grant. Does anybody of you know
sorry,
how
I just want to take time on what you have done. Please, this is a common community call. Do you have a compelling, if there's a one big concern or one thing we can do better, can you please talk about that?
Okay, encrypted voting. Do you want encrypted voting in Algorand governance?
I'm not the right person to say. So I'm not the person to do that.
So the community.
So what
guys, everybody, do you want the encrypted voting? Do you want all voting to be public, and the people who cast the vote, they influence all others? Or basically, if you vote the last, you have the highest voting power because you can decide the things?
Okay.
Is it correct?
Please don't come in, use this opportunity to
Ludo,
talk about the futures that you want. Jeff, please, I will handle it. So what I would suggest is that encrypted voting, we all know that encrypted voting is always better. So all I'm suggesting is that absolutely encrypted voting is necessary. Is it the need right now? Do you think you have something compelling that you can attract investors? Do you think you can attract other people? If yes, please go ahead. You don't need to get anyone's view. You as an entrepreneur, you identify people don't see the need. You see what is important. And if you see a very clear need, you channelize, how do I deliver? It's all about execution. It's not about, hey, do you guys need encrypted voting? There are 100 people who are there who wants to do that. But who is the one person who can deliver it better? They will shine. Again, I'm just
okay, but I think this
is giving one of those like VC meetings, like smack.
Can I have can I raise one more
keep the person focused
thing? The efficiency of the governance voting should be much better than it is in xGov or it is in the governance foundation, right?
Absolutely.
We should have like for example, we should be able to vote on the Git commit, for example, right?
Can you please put the comment also? Very good one. Yes, I think everyone agrees. I think that's the one thing we need to improve, how we can improve the governance process. And if you look at, in general, people are not saying that, hey, there's a lot of algos are given through the governance pool. How do we want to use them? And how do we make sure that effective proposals are coming from the community? And we are there. This is where I think the community should work together. And we should not just look at to say that, hey, we are looking at foundation to deliver that. I think foundation is a body that would help us to facilitate to do that. But it all depends upon the comment. And that's what we should do. I'm really looking for good leaders. Again, you don't need to have any position to be a good leader, right? I'm not using my position to step in myself to come in, right?
Well, welcome, Tommy.
Looking at that, can I be a little bit of a role model, right?
I'm trying to find my ways into the conversation.
Steer something in the right direction.
But I don't want to talk over
it. I completely agree to you. It's a compelling one. We need to make sure that's better way the proposals are done and how it's executed. John, at the beginning, do that. What I'm going to do, I'm taking this as an action item.
Oh, I'm outside listening while talking to some coffee.
How do we have to make it happen? How do we channelize that one? How do we make sure the right people with the right knowledge are talking about that and providing the input to the foundation? So very valid point. I really appreciate that. So these are the points I want people to bring it up. Yeah.
The last comment, I am willing to help. Thank you.
Oh, definitely, we want your help. I think you should be part of it. So again, there's someone who's completely taking the notes. I asked someone. So every discussion's over here. What I did is that I did not purposely recorded it so that it allows people to be very open, talk anything, right? If it's recorded, always people would be worried. So we decided not to record, but I asked someone to take all the notes. So by that way, we will not lose any of the information. Thank you very much.
Yeah, by the way, it's recorded on a record.
Already
Thank you, Ludo. D13, please go ahead.
D13's in the building. Okay, another friend of the show.
It's
all the friends of the show talking.
Say that if the community over there like to do that, it's okay. Okay, good. Next one.
D13.
Here he is.
Thank you. I wanted to mention something that's been a recurring complaint from small and medium builders against the foundation, which is they could be doing a lot more to showcase small and medium projects. Clearly, they need to strike a balance between doing a little bit of due diligence and not promoting like obvious scams or rugs. But at the moment, it seems that they're kind of at the other end of the spectrum, where only very large projects are going to be highlighted through official accounts.
Okay, very good. D13, I have a lot of appreciation on you. You don't need foundation to promote yours. You did a great job in Twitter when problem happened in my algo hack, how we comment, how we coordinated. That's the best forum. I saw you, I recognized, I pulled you in to get your feedback. People will pull you in. So did you spoke with John?
This is not really about me, and I wouldn't be mentioning if it were just a complaint about myself, because in particular we are. I just wanted to mention that I have, yeah.
And I'm appreciating you. What I'm saying is that I'm giving this as a good example. What you're saying is that. So what I look at here is that. Sorry, let me complete my thoughts. D13 is a good example. He come out and tried to address himself to the overall community by solving some problem. Then everybody gets to know. I think that's the best way to get to know. When this happens, I completely agree to you also. If somebody in the foundation, how they also facilitated it better. So sometimes you can see it very clearly. And also what I would say is that feel free to reach out to the right people when you have the right talent, when you have the right skill, and you are addressing it in the right manner. A lot of people have the talent skills, but they don't know how to execute it as well. So if you have all three, people will recognize, and I think you will get one. So with that said, yeah, please give your feedback. So what do you think we should be doing?
Yeah, that's what we need.
I'm aware that Stacey Warden, for instance, is meeting with some projects to have a few get-to-know-you calls. And this could be happening in a little bit larger scale, but also have an output from the official, either the official Algorand Foundation account or their own personal accounts. And since you touched upon the investigation, I actually, this would be an exception to what I was saying before. Throughout the investigation, both John Woods and lots of members of the foundation and even Algorand Inc. were very actively engaged from maybe the second or third day. So aside from that, which is kind of a break in normal continuity, and aside from myself, who I am not doxxed, so I can understand a certain skepticism with respect to that, but there are projects that have repeatedly reached out to the foundation for some kind of support, even if it's just social support. Again, not talking about funding here. And it seems to kind of get lost in the everyday grind.
That's correct. So what I'm here to give confidence to good builders. So D13, you're a good example. During the time of crisis, right? Or when there are problems, that's where the builders, entrepreneurs should come in, try to be involved and showcase their ability. So you've done that, you have seen it. That's what I'm saying, that I'm talking as an entrepreneur, right? I'm not talking as an investor at all. I have absolute confidence that if I believe in something, I think I can get the attention of the right people. So I want this conference to be there with the whole community, all the builders. I don't like builders who are saying that, oh, I don't get funding. If you come back and say that I failed because I did not funding, you are not the right entrepreneur or the founder. So use Algorand Foundation as a channel, you will be a lot more successful. Again, we should talk about to see that how Algorand Foundation can better, because I put a lot of concerns. One of the key concerns coming up is that definitely Foundation can do a better job. And so that's an ongoing process that we can do. So don't look at that. I'm just not doing that. My goal here to see that how you yourself can do better. So really good point, D13. Appreciate it, actually. And also, I think there are some questions. So some people are asking like, hey, what is the relationship between Algorand Inc., Algorand Foundation? So if you look at, I think initially, Algorand Inc. is a lot more involved at the beginning stage, right? They are the founding team, built the blockchain and everything. Then towards the process of decentralization, Algorand Foundation was created. Now everything is driven by Algorand Foundation. It's the right move. That's what we want towards decentralization. And now Algorand Inc. is like any other development company. So right now they are 100% focused on building and maintaining the Algorand software. So you see that Paul Riegel is the head of product. He's the main guy. They have an amazing team of cryptographers, engineers working towards that. So Algorand is now Inc. If you look at now, they are in the back end building them, and then Algorand Foundation is on the front end. So they are representing the network, Algo, and representing the community and see how to steer them in the right direction.
D13, anything else you want to add to see how we can improve the ecosystem?
Jeff, I think let's go to other people. I want to give opportunity to everyone. So
perfect. Bank on Algorand, please go ahead.
I think foundation board of directors needs to be restructured. I feel like there's no accountability on them to perform the responsibilities to the community and to Algorand. There needs to be some way of voting over the foundation board members so that they have pressure on them to do their jobs.
Okay. So what I would say, can you write a small thesis? Bank of Algorand, I'm following you for a long time. You have been around for quite some time, right?
That's the first time I've heard his voice, actually.
So what I would, again, I'm going to go back to
did the coops.
give the accountability, to give the ownership back to the community members. So it's very easy to say that they're not executing. And it's very hard job. I think in my tweet, I said that it's very hard. Do we as a community also are collaborating in such a way to enable them to do the right thing? So that's the first one. Having said that, let me give my view. So what I look at here is that community expectations, one, what Algorand Foundation is delivering might be different. I think I made very clearly. That's where I feel the difference is. How do we make sure that Algorand Foundation is channeling their resources? Forget about the algos, dollar, all of them, right? So there are a lot of resources we have in Algorand Foundation. What I like about it is that now Algorand Foundation is a great organization. It has hired really good people. Question, do we have too much people? That's a question mark. Yes, they may have a lot more people in the down economy. I'm talking as an entrepreneur, right? How do I run a lean organization? Foundation should also see that, how do I run a lean organization? And with the resources that I have, the good thing is that Foundation has a lot of resources. How do I really understand the true burning concerns that the foundation is, the community is having? It's very clear, I think. And then take those 2 or 3 points and effectively deliver that. So what I'm asking to you, Bank of Algorand, is also to see that you and few other people, I would say that that's what self-organized. And when 3 or 4 people that come in and come out with a compelling aspect, hey, this is what we think. I believe that everybody will take that. Everybody's looking ways to implement in a better way. And everybody's struggling there. Yeah, please go ahead.
The foundation board only has 5 members, and I'm not sure how they're actually appointed to the board of directors because they're in charge of Algorand Foundation. So how did they get those positions as being a board member, and what is the repercussion if they do not?
So why we should be concerned with the board member? Like, I want to ask you this question. I'm trying to be other way around, right? So what I'm looking at is that I see a lot of things. What I look at is that the board member is doing very 1 or 2 basic aspects. I would look at that way. What the community is asking, board member is not that. So board member is just to make sure that, hey, the foundation is operating it in the right way. So look at more like what I would want to use the word fiduciary perspective, right? Things are happening in the right way. And when a lot of these things are coming up, I want to take you to the board. And the board is not the I. The board doesn't have you, right? That's how the board members are there. So what I would look at here is that we need to self-organize ourselves. We need to channelize. Okay, stop questioning. That's what I would say. That why this board? Why this? It's easy to question. Okay, I can come and ask 100 questions, easy one. It's very hard to anyone to come back and say that here is the right way to execute. I'm trying to come back and be part of it to execute it. So Bank of Algorand, please take this one. D13, I would tell him like he's really good in developer. He has done. I want him to coordinate with others. Before that, we had one person representing the wallet. He should do that. Every one of them are very valid people coming in. I really appreciate all of you. I have a lot of respect for each of you. All I'm trying to say is that be accountable to yourself. Come forward. We as a community should come together. And then I'll be happy to facilitate. So Bank of Algorand, so if you can tie up with 2 or 3 other people, come back and propose something very clearly. And don't wait for this whole XGov, all of them. When you have a compelling, see, that's what's happening. We don't have a compelling proposal sitting in. And I'm promising you here, if you have a compelling proposal, we will figure out a way to get that proposal working on.
Thank you, Bank. Christian, go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Hope everyone is having a great day. I'll try to be quick on this one.
From now, Jeff, what I would say is that, sorry, Christian, go ahead. I think I want to give my comment later. Yeah, because I want to bring in more, okay, sorry, I would hold. Christian, please go ahead.
No, yeah, I'll be very quick because I also want to hear other people as well. So essentially, like, I wanted to bring up the question of adoption, right? We're all asking, why don't we have many users or liquidity coming to Algorand? And many people point to like lack of marketing. But personally, I believe with the new CMO and all the great job that John Woods has been doing, I have faith that they're going to help drive a lot more users to Algorand. But what I think is that us, the builders, need to do is to make all our applications very easy to use for non-crypto natives. Because I am certain that a lot of people who don't know how to use a wallet, don't know how to secure their seed phrase, are going to be interested in using Algorand. And the first roadblock to adoption is applications that are hard to use. So what I propose is that I'm already working with like guys like Doug from Vendible and like Greg from New Computer Corporation on what tools should founders use to make their applications very, very easy to use. So when non-crypto people come to Algorand, they're going to be like and say, oh, wow, all these applications are great. You know, Polygon's hard to use. These other applications are hard to use. But Algorand is great because I don't have any pain points when I use all the great companies built upon it. So my proposal is for all of our builders to get together and figure out how we can all make our applications easy to use.
Wonderful. So Christian, be a leading example. Work with, let us say, people from Vendible, work from great like NCC, and also have people like D13, few other people. Broader that you have, you will be more successful. So one of the things I'm trying to help is also to put a framework. And again, this is not like don't think like it's separate initiative or anything. Anything that's been done together by the community, you are part of it. So don't think that you are different than the foundation. So that's why people think like, oh, am I working in isolation? No, if you work together and you clearly raise the voice, that becomes the true voice. So what I would like to do, Christian, is also like, I would like to see them. Probably next week, let's see if all of them come in. So one thing that came from the Algorand builders voice, right? Some amazing feedback. I'm going to compile them as well. So the idea is that how do we make the application easy to use? How do we make easy for a lot of users to come in, a lot of Web3 users to come in, and more importantly, non-Web3 users, right? Web2 users to get into Web3. So how we can do them? So those are the important ones. And I think if the founders collectively can come together and come back with a clear proposal, how we want to work together, look at that. We have a lot of resources. And how do we channel those resources? And I think we can do it. So let's see that. I think
what's up, Captain Obvious?
Measure myself.
I definitely thought this would be more fun, but I'm having a hard time. I'm just like kind of smiling stupidly as I look at the chat.
Initial action, right? That tells do we have the right seed that this can grow better. Okay, with that, I think Dale, Oyster Pack, let's have one of them come in, or let's bring them both, and then so that they can ask questions.
Ed, go ahead. Yeah.
I think it's for people to ask questions and get yelled at by
Hey, Roll, thanks for having this space. I've got 4 points. I'm just going to read through them. It's all prepared, so I don't want to take up too much time. I don't need much of dialogue back and forth either, but I'll just read through this. One of the accusations or perceived problems in the Algorand space is the greed of VCs. The question is, how would you in this space agree on a definition of greed and being respectful of honoring risk while maintaining accountability of VCs and projects? Next point, one of the fundamental weaknesses...
Sorry, one by one, I'm not good at absorbing a lot of things. So clarify the first point again. I want to make sure that I clearly understand.
Yeah,
because it's a very broad question.
I would going off of your first statement or opening statement is to have a suggestion, and so I'd like to see or have an aligned definitions in this space of what greed looks like and what honoring risk looks like and what accountability looks like.
Yeah, I think that's a general one. I can talk as an entrepreneur investor. I'm not sure if there is a compelling one. So anyhow, let me try to phrase that towards what we need for this one. So what the greed looks like right now, there is no greed. So there's a lot of greed when the market is high. That's what you're saying. Everybody is talking about, hey, this is great. This is great. Every ecosystem, every community. When the market is down, everyone is fearful. That's where we are right now. So what I would say is that be greedy when everyone is fearful. So this is the time I am very greedy. And if you are greedy during this down market, you will be absolutely successful. Second, those who survive this bear market will very likely be the leader in the next bull cycle. So don't give up, hold yourself, and then be greedy, watch yourself, watch your spend. What happens if you have too many resources? You don't do well. You do well when there are less resources. That's the reason startups are successful and the corporates are not that successful in bringing innovation. Innovation comes when things are bad. I'm using this opportunity. If you look at right now there is a lot of things going on. This is the time to bring innovation. This is the time to bring people together to do something here in Algorand community. If you look at, I am very greedy. I am very hopeful to see that we can bring the change. Hope that answers the question.
Sure. Next point is one of the fundamental weaknesses of altruism is a non-desire to be recognized publicly for work in Web3. This is perceived as a dead space or at best people working in the shadows. I'm truly appreciative of Borderless's continued support of Helium. Even though there's an obvious setback with the move to Solana, I feel the long game is to focus in developing reputation in the Solana space. And of course, not just Solana, but other Web3 projects as well. I view it as incredibly important to support other people's efforts in non-Algorand projects, which should also reverberate in visibility from Algorand governance. We must be known as having a strong reputation in the greater crypto space. So the ask there is have a reputation for being incredible public Web3 supporters outside of the Algorand space to continue building community.
Yeah, so I know you are a good supporter of both Algorand and Helium. And so what I would look at here is that if you look at 2 years back, 3 years back, we had more tribal, right? Hey, everybody's part of this ecosystem. I'm all part of Algorand. I'm all part of Solana. I'm all part of Cardano. I'm just throwing some example, right? The way I view in the future is that that tribalism will reduce. People would look at more like a Web3 community, and then the users ultimately don't care what is the underlying blockchain. People are going to look at to see that how you are able to meet the need of the user. Are your applications good to use? And you as a developer pick the right tech, actually, the right blockchain. And why a lot of people come to Algorand? Because they believe tech is great. So it's, again, go back to the founders to go back and build something great. If you build something great, you will build. And look at that. We have invested in 200 companies. I'm just taking 10% of them. The top 10 companies, they are not dependent on Algorand ecosystem. Because any ecosystem is very, very small. Even take Ethereum, it's a very small ecosystem compared to the grand scheme. If your goal is to bring 100 million users, no ecosystem has 100 million users. So the ambitious founders are not constrained by one specific ecosystem. So definitely you need to look at broader. You need to look at to see that how do I make it easy for users to onboard? And how do I make sure that I get the broader market? And mostly think to see how we can bring Web2 into Web3. And what I'm seeing is that this is trickling into the Algorand ecosystem. Within Algorand system, because people are building some really good application where they're really trying to bring web to users. And also in the Algorand builder community, there's one group that they said like they're going to work together to see how to make onboarding easier. First step is to make onboarding Web3 users easier. And the next one is how do we onboard Web2 users?
Aggressive keystrokes.
So with that, I think I want to give chance to other people. So if there's a one-line question, compelling question you can ask, I can answer that. But I really appreciate you. Come very thorough. Really appreciate that. But I want to give the chance to other ones.
The word wine is an aggressive word. I want to know.
Thank you, Ed. Algo Fest, please go ahead.
Algo Fest.
Yeah, thank you. I had a few things kind of really to bring through here, so I'll try and keep it as quick as possible. I think one of the main tenets that people in the Algorand ecosystem have an issue with is really kind of transparency and follow through with a lot of the grants and just Algorand Foundation as a whole. So, I've spoken with a lot of different projects. I'm head of DeFi over at Humble. I've gotten the opportunity to meet a lot of people in the space, and there are probably more projects than not that really aren't accounted for. So, if you look back the last, say, 3-4 years of grant distribution and back by fees or by the foundation or whoever it might be, majority of these projects, they either launch and then they're nowhere to be seen after, or they never even launch. And having conversations with both the projects, the feedback I mainly hear is, we got this grant money, we went to deploy on Algorand, and we haven't heard anything back from the foundation in terms of any sort of support, in terms of any next steps. They were promised, introductions here, introductions there, and it seems like a lot of the communication kind of falls off once the grant is received. So I think obviously that's a main issue. Also, really, a second point is kind of the centralization. I know it's already been brought up, but the centralization of government governance, and the proposal selection. One of the things that we're dealing with over at Humble this round is our farms were axed from being able to use in the governance. And it's a little disappointing because we used smart contracts and basically, not to get too nitty gritty into the details, but it's just, I guess, too much work for the foundation to keep up on and monitor the state of these contracts for participation in governance. And for me, if we're struggling.
I think if it takes such a long time to ask a question, it's harder. So put it in one line. Out of everything, what's the one thing you want me to answer, or what's the one thing you think we should do?
Oh man, there's so much. I guess I will.
No, it's harder. I'm asking this purposely, right? Because it's easier to come and explain in a broader sense.
It does suck,
Rob. Harder when you want to ask in a one line.
It's rough penalizing decentralization.
In one line, what would you say that? Yeah.
I'll boil it down to transparency. Like I said, I know Stacy mentioned, more quarterly reports with more in-depth information. That's kind of to be determined. But I really think following up with
their
projects
farms aren't eligible for the governance boosted rewards because.
And I think in the last 1 week watching from the community,
because they can't really handle it with smart contracts. Really, but Chris and Shaman will give you a better answer.
Right? When they even said like, when I want to be open, straightforward, and transparent, people like that. So that's what I would also see that. I think one thing we need to work with the foundation is that how they can be more transparent.
Follow up
and
on
also how they can use the community also to make the projects work well. It's true that a lot of people got the grant and then not much responsibility to deliver to that. That's the one thing we need to work also. Like when VC invest,
definitely a lot of borderless companies have done that.
So that's a process that need to be improved.
Prismatic is a good example.
We would be looking for the transparency report that's coming in. I think, as I said, that's important because a lot of things comes in the transparency report. I'm looking to see the transparency report for Q1, and it should be coming very soon.
Got it.
And I think we should try to come back organized. It's
that's
not just when we go and complain, things don't get done. When we come back, constructively criticize certain part, we can do that. So one of my action items I'm looking when the transparency report comes in, So I want to see that how do we constructively pass the feedback, and how do we make sure that the foundation come back and responded within 1 to 2 weeks.
Maybe you just don't allow farms.
Report that the community wants. That itself will bring a lot more confidence. So one thing I'm going to take action is that look for the transparency report, work closely with the community. Let's take 2 or 3 aspects. Again, if there are 100 things, there's no way we can deliver. Let's get 1 or 2 things that's more important, go back and tell to the foundation so that the foundation team members, as I said, there's a lot of resources foundation has, and they should be able to come back and give it to us. And if foundation delivers that, it builds more confidence within the community. So completely agree, transparency is very important. And I think we should also help foundation saying what's more important to us and how the foundation can be more transparent to us. So I'm going to take that as a 1 key action item, and hopefully I think I should be able to deliver.
My question is, and I can't.
Yeah, just one other thing I kind of want to just throw in there as well is I think looking back, not just the last quarter, but the last few years, I know Stacy's mentioned, over 900 projects are building on Algorand. Honestly, I can maybe name a tenth of that that are actually active, that are actually really out there building in the ecosystem. So that's just my concern is all these projects that I've seen, get these large grants, and then once they get the money, it's kind of like
So again, we don't have time. I think I want to make sure that I do
Oyster.
that. Yes.
Yeah.
That's completely correct.
All right, before Oyster starts talking, and for everybody that's watching my show, I feel bad talking over.
And I see there's a lot of concern. So I think we.
Okay, but I don't think this is important. Before, what I want to know is that they have these flashy $500 million, funds that they launched, and this is a follow-up to what John was saying. How much of that $500 million is actually coming from the foundation?
Thank you for being
what are
the voice of
terms of deploying that capital?
It's greatly needed to fill that void, especially on Twitter. You were asking what do we think is the problem? What the reasons? I think, let me just go through the reasons. I think one of the reasons, and there's solutions in place now. People keep looking in the rearview mirror, but one big problem was it's the classic problem of the honey pot. Everyone looks at all that algo honey pot the foundation is controlling, and everyone wants to stick their hand in there. That's number one problem. That's been solved. Right, grants are gone, Algo Ventures, and through you need, like you said, you need a business plan. You need a real business plan, right? With real objectives, right? That's number one. Number two, there's this I don't understand, but one of the big problems is there's too much leaning on the foundation in terms of wanting their help. It's kind of ironic because we are supposed to be decentralized, permissionless, but yet when things go wrong or they need help, there's too much dependency, too much the expectation of the Algo Foundation will come in and save the day. Like you said, entrepreneur. If you want to be an entrepreneur, that is the most challenging occupation besides maybe being a parent, right? It's kind of like being a parent.
Oyster, yeah. How do you see that we can improve the ecosystem? It's kind of what we're looking for here. What do you see that we can do?
Identify the problems, right? I think some solutions have been put in place. Getting rid of the grants, I think, was a great move. Should have been killed.
Going forward.
No, Jeff.
Okay, yeah.
No, I said I want to take this one, right? You made a very good one. Take the grant out. It's very clear the community did not like foundation giving a lot of grants.
I'll be right back.
And because most of the people that received the grant did not deliver. And if you look at in the last 2 years also, when we work with the foundation, our view is also to say that, grant may not be the right mechanism. If Algorand Foundation start giving equity, that might be a better one. So if you look at now, pretty much they're doing mostly through Algorand Ventures. And also I see some noise going around. Hey, is Borderless Capital not happy because Algorand started their own ventures? No, we are extremely happy. We really want Algorand we have a venture arm and invest into equity. The reason is because we have less capital around. It's not like we are competing for capital, right? So the thing is that if there are good projects, we want to have good capital source. So if Algorand Ventures has a good capital source, that's really good for the community as well. So what I look at here is that it's loud and clear. The community made it. So rather than now keep whining, right? Past is past. So what I would say here is that from now on, let's look at the company that got grant, identify those companies. That's what I would recommend to the foundation. Hey, shortlist the company that we have given the grant that has good potential and see how we encourage them to be successful without giving any additional money. I would never suggest foundation going back, putting money, saying that putting bad money on bad, right? How do we do that? And if you get confidence, then Algorand Ventures can come in and put equity. And then if that's what I'm saying, that if there are good projects, a lot of people are sitting with money on the sideline to put it out there, because right now the valuation is more reasonable and people want to put it in. And also by foundation putting equity, it allows foundations to stay for a longer time. If we give grant, its expense is gone. If they put the money as an equity, it makes the project to be more accountable to deliver as an investor that they're given. And also it allows the foundation to be self-sustainable for a long period of time. So really good point.
Me applying for a grant would be fun. Would be a funny thing.
Yep. And just one other thing is
in one line. Okay. Try hard.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the problems is there was a lack of leadership in the community, like you just said, and we need, like, you have filled this void, right? Running this, facilitating this. You say you're going to step out in a couple of weeks. I'm afraid there's going to be another void. And you know what happens in a void, in a vacuum? Bad, chaos and madness. And what we need is like you said. So the solution here, we need to, for the community, for the leaders in the community to facilitate and have this on a regular basis, right? Notice how everyone on Twitter has real big nerve, or I don't want to say, I don't want to swear on here, but has the audacity to act childish on Twitter tweets. I don't hear anyone here, right? We're having here much more rational conversations, right? So, talking about real problems.
Oyster's pointing out the realities of social media
on a regular basis, facilitated by leaders in the community, so we can squash this FUD, this nonsense that's spread across Twitter.
Thank you, Oyster.
Dale. Wonderful, really good. I appreciate what you're talking about. So yes, come positive, talk like this. It's really good. Yeah, Dale.
Hey, honestly, I was just coming up to say good day. I hope everybody's doing good. It's good to see all Algo here. Hope you've been checking out my videos where I've been drawing with my feet and my nose and stuff. But yeah, hope everybody's going good.
Is that Dale?
Wonderful.
Thanks. AP, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a request to community. Like when I visited the greenhouse house in Hyderabad, like I came to meet with multiple companies that are not active in Twitter, but they are doing like real world applications. So companies are not available on Twitter. That does not mean that they are active. I think there were companies that have only 100 followers, but they have already converted millions of real world assets into maybe ASAs. So I was amazed. So when we go and meet them in real life or go to these events, I think come out of Twitter, we can know more about applications that are building on Algorand.
Yeah, it's a good point. I want to let people know. Good builders, they build quietly. They don't make noise. So in general, I would say that those who just come back and make more noise in the Twitter may not be the ones. So most of the best builders, they build quietly and come out very clearly the product. And you would see that now the product is launched in a thoughtful manner. So that's a good way. So just don't guess anything with all the Twitter activities. What you see a lot of times in the Twitter is the noise. So don't judge anything based on what's happening. I would say that there are at least 50 projects that I know I'm extremely comfortable doing a great job. And 90% of those 50 projects are fighter, focusing on build. And so if you look at, I'm mostly quiet. I just came right? I'm not going to be like this for a long time because I'm busy building my own. So when I was an entrepreneur, I hardly do that. I build and I come out very strongly on my outcome. And that gets me the biggest market share out there. So really good point. And I just want to deliver this message to the team also to see that please don't judge the ecosystem strength by all the noises. And even though I put a lot of things, I just want to bring the concerns. The step one I did is that I put a lot of codes. So don't think I think, again, good People sometimes even don't give in code. So my next approach is also talk to other best people because they are busy building it. It's hard for me to pull those people. All I'm looking for is that thing is that people who are good, who are building, please take some time out and try to contribute to the community. Okay. A lot of noise is coming from people who are speculative. A lot of noise is coming from people who want to give their opinion. I want to hear the voice from people who are spending a lot of time building something amazing and they're launching great products. So again, I'm not trying to be unrespectful to everyone. All I'm trying to say here is that we need good people to come out. And sometimes people get distracted with all the things. Don't be distracted, right? And I want to be there. I started that. You see positive comments, negative comments. All I have to do is that ignore if there are noises. That's why I keep trying to do that. I'm trying to be very focused to take it to the next step so that we can get something done. Okay, so with that, let's see other people. And I'm fine to extend for a few more minutes because my goal is not to cut down. I want to give opportunity for everyone to talk. So
anybody else want to request, please feel free to request now. We still have some time.
Okay,
please, if you want to ask any questions, comment, please feel free to request now.
Yeah, so I see, Qwerty requested. Let's bring him in.
Christian.
And
yeah, let me see here.
I think QWERTY, right? Okay, got it. We have Don Hardle. Let's bring him in. So yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, I just requested to speak.
Okay, they're having issues connecting.
Yeah, Christian, I think we heard many times. Sorry, Christian, I love you, but I think I want to hear from new people. So, okay, please bring him. So what?
We have a. Let's see if we get Coop up here.
ReCoop, bring him in. So. Okay.
Okay, so I think there's a delay.
Let's bring in Dale. Let's bring driving. And I know that there are only like 5 at a time. So we can push out Christian. And so ReCoop, if you want to ask, please go ahead. Driving.
Hey, sorry guys.
And I know that there are only like 5 at a time.
Okay, this is super confusing.
So we can push out Christian and.
You're gonna want to mute that, Coop.
Yeah. All right. Hey guys, how you doing? I'm sorry. There's a delay on my end, so I'm in 2 different worlds. I just really quickly wanted to ask a follow-up on what John was asking earlier. We've heard some very splashy funds like the $500 million Borderless fund. Now I'm just curious, based on what John was saying, how much of that $500 million fund came from the Algorand Foundation? And then I guess a follow-up to that would be what exactly is the terms of deploying that capital, and is that fund still active? Thanks.
So we have Algo Fund 2. And at this point of time, when we said 500 million, Algo price was a lot higher. So the fund is always denominated through Algo, so it's a lot smaller than that. And it's a very active fund, and we are very actively investing. As I said, like at this point of time, Borderless is still the #1 funding source, and we have some good dry powder, and we'll continue to invest. We will not say what's our dry powder, a lot of things, because we are a private fund, and we are not supposed to tell that.
Okay.
So, and then next question. I'm ready to take even another question from ReCoop if he wants.
Yeah, he dropped. I don't know if it was his.
Yeah, it's
his
good.
connection.
We're good. I mean, I just wanted to hear the answer to that. And that's too confusing. There's 2 different.
And also just a message to ReCoop also, right? You are doing a good job. I think you're trying to bring what's the truth, but don't just try to be nosy in things that you're not very clear. You can do a great job, analyze the fact, and focus on the ones that you have a real good fact. You did a great job. I think I've been watching you for a long time. So bring back the anchor that you had previously. I think you are amazing. I love you. So I think that's what my things to ReCoop as well.
All right. Thank you, Arul. Thank you very much.
Okay. We have Dale or equity.
Gandalf, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Guys, I've been listening, and
what just
I'm
happened?
new,
I got
and
really
although
confused,
not new
guys.
to Algorand, I have
That
been
was super
doing some
confusing
tests.
because there
I've
was
had
two
my own
different.
local nodes.
So I
But
asked a question and
I'm
it was
building an
delayed.
app
It's really
that
confusing.
caters to mainstream users, and I'm trying to bring in mainstream, merge mainstream
Stay in your lane.
with
Only
a
know
little bit of crypto. And
make jokes
my
about holes in
question,
boats.
I
Kenneth,
just
is what
heard,
I
you know,
was just
although I
told.
wasn't expecting a grant, I just heard, I heard you mention that you had a grant and you stopped giving grant, and now you're doing an equity investment. My question is, like someone mentioned earlier, like the kind of app I'm building is not going to be restricted to one chain, because it's best serves more people when
I
I'm
could have
able
handled
to
that better,
port it
Shaq. You're
to
right.
several chains. So my question is, if you are doing, and this is totally out of curiosity, I haven't decided if I'm going to, you know, apply for it. But if you are going to do an equity investment on a service, does that have in any way have any kind of restriction on what chain that service is eventually built on? Because if I say I'm originally building Algorand and then I'm also porting this service to a few other chains, that's, you know, I don't know if that poses some kind of barrier.
Yeah. No, it's a good question, right?
Yeah.
First, let me clarify. We as Borderless Capital, we don't do grants. We always are venture capitalists. We do only equity token investments, right? So foundation in the past has given the grant, but now they're more focused on doing equity investments. And so to your question, I think if you talk to a specific ecosystem fund or to a specific foundation, they're expecting you to build in that blockchain, right? So what I would advise is that you should come back and say that how you're building in Algorand, and also how is your roadmap to take multi-chain. That's the one thing that we encourage actually. As I said, the future is going to be multi-chain, cross-chain. As I said, like the users don't care what's the underlying blockchain. So you pick Algorand because you like certain things that are good at Algorand, not just because somebody is giving money, right? If you truly believe Algorand is the right tech, choose Algorand, build on it, and also have a roadmap.
I mean, I will say
that now if you look at,
I don't think we really care what he's saying right now. If the foundation indeed was responsible for most of the liquidity in those funds,
to go to other chains.
it's
So
a
it's not like you have
stretch to
to build
believe that
again
they're not a little
every time you
irritated by the new venture capital VC fund that they're creating in-house at the foundation.
How roadmap to take
So,
it cross-chain. I
guys,
think people should like
don't be
That's my
naive.
independent view.
I probably don't know what I'm
Thank you.
talking about.
That's a good
but
answer.
let's be honest.
What I was looking at.
Forever, the foundation is probably much of the liquidity in these funds. And
Dale,
now
you want to say anything about the ecosystem?
The foundation's doing their own thing.
Anything you wanted to contribute?
Come on.
Just two quick things. Well, like, one, I wanted to ask about any updates with that Lil Durk shoe thing that you were doing, Jeff. Is like,
yeah, we can get on that in the next spaces for sure. I'll definitely update you guys.
No worries. No worries. I guess really the only other thing was that maybe like to share a little thing that I found recently was that I think having fun in the space has been definitely overlooked. Maybe I'm just like have been seeing the space differently, but I think that like, because I know I can get heaps serious because it's like heaps serious money with a lot of people, but being an artist, I think that like having fun and enjoying the days in this space has been a huge thing for me to finally realize and enjoy. It just makes you be able to last for ages. And I don't know, I guess I just hope people in this space are like having fun and enjoying themselves, even though it can be a stressful and like
put a pen in your
full-on thing.
I want
to just hope that for people.
Next draw, I want him to shove a pen in his ass and then draw something. Let's see some real art, Dale.
Personally, I do that. I think it's a tough environment. I would say that, yeah, please have fun. Awesome. Life is more important. Life is here to enjoy. So I think, don't get all these things carried away. So, yeah, wonderful.
Thank you,
next
Dale.
one. Let's see.
Driving.
Yeah.
I first want to state that Dale's work is amazing, and thanks for having me. I'm curious about the prior stuff with the Clinton Foundation and when that came up and what's supposed to be going on in the future with the partnership.
I have no idea. I have no clue.
Come out like shit.
So sorry, I cannot answer. So I think that's nothing to do with Algorand. I think.
Yeah.
So I'm not involved.
So that's just personal with Stacy.
I have no idea.
Strivey, is there anything else you want to chime in on in regards to the ecosystem?
Well, that was a big factor in me actually parting ways with the ecosystem and the hack. I'm kind of curious where we're going after this.
Yeah, so let me give few things, right? The community sometimes takes it serious when you saw a picture, when you see that. Sometimes it doesn't mean that somebody is taking it seriously on one path. Again, I'm giving my independent view, right? I have no clue, as I said. So, for example, until you see that a lot of time, resources are spent, don't go after that. So a lot of people go and talk about, spend a lot of time on very speculative aspects. Go after things that are really happening. Hey, this is where
Can I turn this off?
Okay, here I see $1 million spent. I don't think it's useful. Go on after those aspects. That's
I only have probably max another 15 minutes before I got to sign off.
Something potential they can do. Don't speculate on what potentially could happen.
And I want to tell you guys all the details I have on XGov, which is probably
I would say
all available now. But
my thing is that
yes, please. All right. Anybody else? If I get 3 people
don't get into politics,
bored,
and I think
don't turn it off. Okay, Ludo wants me to keep it on.
Ecosystem, and Algorand Foundation should focus on good projects, building on that.
Shut it down.
Come out with a very clear, precise.
Everyone seems to be
plan.
good.
I think a lot of people
with me
said,
shutting this off.
What Algorand is really good at, and how do I point my resources towards that? I believe in focus. Do one thing at a time, not multiple things. So I think that's what I think Algorand should do that, and that's where the community should also do that. Forget about all the noise. Focus on 2 or 3 important things. If everybody raise their voice on important things, ultimately people will do those aspects. So if you keep raising noise on like, hey, what is this going on with Clinton? It's irrelevant at this point of time.
All right, guys, I did it. I shut it off. I hope you're okay with that. I feel like we listened to a lot of it, and I'm not gonna lie. I don't know that was all that informative. But I will say that, and it's possible that it was unnecessary for me to even do that. But I know that because I don't really feel like I pulled a lot out of that. But I will say, look, kudos to Arul for standing up there and taking the questions and answering them the best way he knows how. And I think that it just indicates that, I've been in some of those VC meetings. I've been a fly on the wall of some of those VC meetings. And he very much is approaching this the same exact way. He wants you to be concise. He wants you to ask the question, and he wants you to be self-motivated and make things happen on your own. And the things that they want to invest, it's like that. They want to invest in people that aren't asking, don't need help, but would just flourish with a little bit of help. So that's exactly seems to be the attitude. Maybe a little bit of a tip to him. It probably would make people less defensive if he called it something other than whining. But I don't think he needs my tips. He's a pretty successful dude. I do think that John brought up an interesting point. And it helps me actually understand some of those questions, some of those annoying questions, some of those less where I knew less about the situation questions. But where I started to ask questions about there's this thing that I've said a few times now in the past couple of weeks is I should have played the algo rant. Should have played the algo rant thing before this, but that's okay. This is, I guess, an algo rant. But something I've said is the foundation cuts up funding for my algo is drained. The alpha reach, Voy is born. And then they also the fund, the Algorand Ventures, and now Borderless is holding these types of spaces and calling for change and calling for on-chain votes for leadership at the foundation. And so I think that there is something. Now, I'm not saying that my algo was drained as a response to that, but whatever that is, it's murky, right? And so I guess my question really still is, and they are saying that they're not against the foundation and they are working to close things within the Algorand ventures and all of that. I just don't buy it. And I think that the foundation and whoever else that's affiliated has put, and I'm realizing today, based on what John was saying, is that a lot of these $500 million funds from Borderless Capital, and he mentioned HiveMind, a lot of that money, I guess, is coming from the foundation. And so, if that's cut off, that would be or if that's slowed down, that would be a huge disadvantage to Borderless in these funds because they were getting a tremendous amount of liquidity. I've heard rumors that Borderless will not invest in anything unless 50% of the round is led by outside Algorand ecosystem investors, which seems like a pretty tough hurdle at the moment. So it appears that they are paused on investments. There was a lot of talk about, grants being given to projects that don't deliver and the frustration with that. I mean, not to be a jerk about it, but, I had David Garcia on the show recently, and he was talking about, being bullish on Prismatic, which I think Prismatic is one of those that got a grant and it didn't deliver, And then also, I'm not sure Wayru. I don't know what the future is for that. This is another project that was affected by the MyAlgo hack. I don't know what the status of them getting a grant was or, how much they've delivered. So, and then also to know that any funds, and now this would be a question, maybe an annoying question, but like when Borderless invests in Wayru with that $500 million Algorand fund, how much of that is actually coming from the foundation? So transparency with that in these transparency reports would be good, right? I think so. Let's see. Now, what are you guys saying? The ReCoop partnering with the Clinton Foundation. No, I'm not. All right. So Captain Obvious wants some XGov information. I've been listening the whole time and I have not learned anything. Chicken tenders, I truly haven't. I truly didn't learn anything. Basically, this is what I will tell you what I believe the main point of this. And he liked it when Oyster Pack said it too. Stop bitching, fall in line, right? And unless you have an actionable piece of advice or a suggestion that can be done, right? They're not. So it's basically stop bitching. And that's all I really got out of it. And a willingness to listen, a willingness to engage. He went over time. He all of that. And he seems like a very smart guy. And, like the point has been made from a lot of people. Borderless has been here from the beginning. I have been like, okay, well, where have we gone? But also Borderless does have their hands in a lot of different things, has deployed a lot of capital. And it's not that, certainly I've never called for Borderless to disappear. I think that would be a reckless, terrible thing to happen. I'm just saying, that transparency, which he says they want. So I guess because they're a private fund, they're not going to give us that information. All right, XGov, folks, before we sign off, let's talk about it. I got some good information about that. Let's see. So you're going to be able to opt into XGov starting next week. The voting will start in July when the rewards for, I guess, quarter 2 are being distributed. Community grant proposals will open end of April. So you'll be able to propose community grants end of April. Oh, maybe that's what somebody was talking about earlier. Should we put a ReCoop community grant together? Would anybody even upvote that? XGovs can start evaluating them May and June. First XGov voting session should kick off early July. Okay, yeah. And then she will share links, or this is coming from Adriana. They'll share links to resources on Friday ahead of governance period 7, which would be quarter 2 of this year. And do a Twitter space and a Discord call to answer questions. So I'll definitely be in that Twitter space. Hopefully it won't be at 9 a.m. Eastern, so it has to be confusing and, take over the show. And she tells me that she'll watch my stream. So that's cool. So there you go, guys. So XGov is coming. And it seems like we're going to be able to start doing proposals in the end of April. And we'll be able to start voting in end of July. So I think that, or in July, whatever. So for me, that's bullish, to be honest. I like it. I don't know any of the details. She did send me a PDF, but this might be a little bit too much. You know what? I can do this, guys. Hold on. Here we go. How about this? Hello, XGov. How are you? Hello. XGov program equals expert governors who deeply understand the ecosystem. Also a Silvio Macaulay idea. Okay, there we go. Was the weighted experience also Silvio's idea? Because I like it. XGovs will play a key role in advancing our responsible decentralization strategic goal. Designed in collaboration with the community through ARCs 33 and 34, XGov program does not offer extra rewards. To become an XGov, okay, so that was something that was floated earlier, where to be an expert governor, your commitment to governance would last for potentially longer. Instead of 1 quarter, it would be a year, and you might get boosted rewards. But it looks like they're no longer doing that, or at least we're not doing that to start. To become an XGov, a governor opts in when they sign up for governance. They must perform their normal gov duties, and their rewards for that governance period are paid to the XGov epoch pool. Oh, okay. So actually, I'm sorry. I should keep reading. To become an XGov, a governor opts in when they sign up for governance. They must perform their normal gov duties, and their rewards for that governance period are paid to the XGov pool instead of their own wallet. Each XGov lasts 12 months, and at the end of it, all eligible XGovs receive their rewards. Ineligible XGovs forfeit their rewards. Algos left in the pool are distributed amongst all eligible XGovs in that pool. All right. Okay. So what it sounds like what is happening here is if you participate, there's not going to be any more, there's no extra incentive initially to participate in XGov. So you're doing this because you really want to participate. It's going to take 12 months. So does that mean if you're not okay, so this is just costing you. So I guess my question here, and there's going to be a time to ask this question, but my question here is, if you become an XGov, your commitment is 12 months. So if you're not a active governor for all 12 months, you lose. So like, let's say you do 3 quarters well, and then you fall off for some reason in the 4th quarter, you lose the entire year of rewards. So I guess I see how this would work, because it would seem that at least somebody enough people through these XGovs would become ineligible. So the rewards should in the end be boosted by people dropping out. But it seems to me that they're saying, all right, if you want to play ball, buddy, if you want to be in this for the long haul with us, then it's going to cost, and it's not going to really benefit you much. Now, can you increase your governance stake throughout the 12 months, or do you have to keep the same stake from the beginning? So the governance period 7 sign-up phase is open for 3 weeks. XGov 1 is during opt-in in the quarter 2. Community grant proposals opens on GitHub. XGov begin to evaluate proposals. In quarter 3, XGov 1 voting begins. Continuous review of the general governance program. Continuous review of the XGov. So we're getting our initial XGov, folks. Yeah, I haven't missed a session either, Joker. I'm inclined to be an XGov. I'm just inclined to do it. Yeah, I don't know how that would work with LPs either. I'm assuming that that's not going to include LPs. Can you be an XGov and participate in the boosted DeFi rewards? Yeah, I mean, I have more questions than I did at the start of reading that, but I think that's good on some level. If it is what it sounds like, it seems highly incentivized, kind of not for retail that are into DeFi and yield to participate. It's for the people that are really interested in having a say in these community grants and stuff like that. Yeah, Kurt's saying it. This is to get serious people involved in governance, not just someone just getting in governance because it's the only option to get rewards. 100%. Totally. And frankly, it makes some sense. It makes some sense. So I believe that there's going to be a space for Algokit later today with John Woods. That should be fun. I'm not sure that I'll be able to. I'm going to be cleaning my garage. By the way, anybody that was watching my show yesterday concerned about my son and his basketball coach, my son went out yesterday and dominated. Just dominated. He just got accepted. He's in 2nd grade. He just made a 5th grade club team. So my kid's a stud, folks. Yeah. Well, guys, look. There we go. I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about that. I'm not upset or anything. And I get it. A rule. I've asked a lot of questions. I've dug in a little bit with some like lawsuit issues that they're dealing with over at Borderless Capital. I've questioned the connection between Borderless and Rand Labs. So all of that is uncomfortable. And in the end, I sort of even acknowledged that I am sort of diving into something that can be completely unrelated to Algorand on some level. And placing myself in the middle of that isn't necessarily the best thing to do because I don't totally understand both sides of certainly that lawsuit. I think I was logically alarmed by some of the accusations against them and some of the activity early on in Algorand. And I think that we did learn today, thanks to our buddy John Mazzoni, and maybe I should have known this already, to be frank, but that much of these funds, the Hive Mind, which was, I think, over $1 billion, if I remember correctly, it was like it might have been 1.5, or it was at least $1 billion. And the Borderless one, $500 million. Now, obviously, like Arul said, this was when Algo was much higher. I believe one of their initial funds was $200 million. So it seems obvious that the foundation has been highly subsidizing that. And in a way, that does sort of validate some of my concerns of looting the Algorand treasury. Okay? Looting is a trigger word, kind of like whining is. So I understand that sounds a bit dramatic, but in the end, if I'm guessing, speculating is a better word, and I've speculated this before with zero pushback. by the way. And I don't want to be a jerk, but there wasn't a whole lot of foundation presence in that call. I think new leadership, which if you watched my show yesterday or the day before, or whatever, the days are bleeding together. It seems I'm not negative on new leadership at this point. It seems like new leadership has looked at some of previous leadership's actions and thought, okay, are we getting results from all of this? And I don't know. And did they start to defund things that have received a tremendous amount of support and to their estimation has not provided the results that we need? Because guys, if you know anything about the complaints, right, the criticism from ETH guys and all of that, is that they say layer ones hand out all of these grants in order to get, put all this money out there in order to get adoption. And then once all that money gets dried up, everybody leaves and then goes and farms another blockchain. And so if that is what this new leadership on some level, I'm not saying at a high level or whatever, is seeing, if they're seeing that and they're like, all right, well, these guys we've given so much to them and they're in here, they need to start pulling their own weight in some of the ways that Arul has been talking about. Now, I might be off on some of this, but I'm just saying these are questions. Is this part of the conflict? Because I will say that even though I have said some things that I needed to say, frankly, to be an independent voice, because I genuinely thought them, that kick in the face thing was very true, and it shook my conviction. So I needed to say it. I don't need to harp on it, though, and I understand that. But I just want to say, I don't know. I just lost my I lost my train of thought. But I all I'm saying, guys, is that I'm tired. It's pouring out rain outside. The space was the space, and there is something going on, and I want an Algorand, the foundation, frankly, on a positive note for everybody that wants me to be positive. I mean, look at India, look at Algokit, look at bringing John Woods in, look at what's happening, right? Look at Jess. I mean, we got two CoinDesk articles with the name Algorand in it on the same day in their top stories. So there is positive results happening coming out of the foundation. And frankly, with that kick in the face thing, Stacy did acknowledge it, and I'm sure she feels foolish for ever doing it. But there still remains questions on why, certain people have been defended so strongly. But am I really interested? Am I really motivated enough to really just kind of like blow it all up for that? I'm not. I'm willing to move on, and I'm willing to hear out the foundation. And I think it's good that Borderless is coming out and saying, hey, we need certain things. I want what's best for the Algorand community. And I'm going to continue to try to, raise questions that help get there. And to Arul's point of, asking questions where I don't necessarily have all the facts. Well, I push back on that because a lot of the questions I'm asking, it's impossible for me to know all the facts. And in order for me to know all the facts, I have to ask questions. Now, I do understand that there are questions that I may ask that people cannot answer because of legal reasons or because, privacy reasons. So I'm just going to continue to try to navigate it the best way I can. I am not Dan Rather. I am, Koopy Pants. You know what I'm saying? Koopy Pants. All right. Win delegate votes. Looking forward to the X rant. But it's crypto. If you give someone a yield mechanism, they're going to spend a lot of thought power trying to exploit it. Win XGov with foundation on ReCoop. Of course, I'm assuming the most malicious, selfish mentality. Yeah, I mean, totally true. But if I get impermanent loss protection and 15% APY on a token plus a vote as to what ASAs I hold, the gem space, everybody go to the Algo gem space. Wilder, all by himself is a gem. Wilder, you're a gem, buddy. I've met him in person. Very fun dude. We had a lot of fun. Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, I appreciate you. We went for almost 2 hours today. That was fun. I wasn't sure how it would go, the listening party, because, you know, it's not fun to hear me talk over people. Sunshine is the best disinfectant. Borderless needs more transparency. They do, guys. I mean, let's be perfectly honest. Let's be perfectly frank. Let's be perfectly Sally. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, Jesus, bad jokes. But let's be honest here, guys. Like, there is murkiness in the beginning, just based on these coin fabric accusations, and there is a deep, deep enmeshment with the Foundation Treasury and Borderless Capital Funds. Is that a bad thing? I don't actually know the answer to it. But more transparency on what is coming from them. He did say most of it was coming from them. So, look, I mean, maybe it's not all so bad. You know. Yesterday, Wilder took care of a 200-day issue I had. Thanks again, Coop. Oh, no, that's different, but elbow cough. A 200-day issue I had. Just my 2 cents, but I think it's better content you talking about things than the space. Yeah. Cool, Bunsen. I agree with you. I wanted to try this. I knew that most of you were interested in what this space was going to be. And it was a friendly suggestion from a fellow YouTuber. And I thought, well, you know what? If everybody's going to tune into this and it's going to be me and, 20 people, the problem, I could have done the space later, except for I can't really. It's already 7:40. Guys, I got to go. I got to get my kids to school. All right. Hey, everybody, thanks you for watching. I'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern. And yeah, it's 7:40 a.m. And I got to go. I got to drive these kids in the rain. I'm going to drop them off. I'm going to say goodbye, tell them I love them. And that's it. All right, guys, I'll talk to you tomorrow. I'll see you.